everyone. Welcome to the third SAT webinar by Elite Home Tutoring. My name is Karen. I am the Associate Counselor here at Plexuss. We have here our wonderful tutor, Christine from Elite Home Tutoring. She has been tutoring for over a decade with SAT prep, so we are very happy to have her here with us. Let me know, I put in the chat to let me know where you're from. Just to get an idea of who's here, where are you guys calling from, and just to give you some background information of how this webinar is going to work. Christine will be lecturing you all on some SAT tips and information for you all. This webinar will be about punctuation. Is that right, Christine?
Right.
All right, perfect. So this webinar will be about punctuation. So while Christine is lecturing, you are free to let her know of any questions you all might have, and you can do that by sending me a chat privately. You can do so by clicking chat and clicking 2 at the bottom, and there is a drop-down menu, and then you can choose who you would like to send the chat to. So you can go ahead and send your question to me privately, or you can go ahead and raise hand, and you can do so by also clicking the chat or participants option, and you can go ahead and raise your hand there to ask Christine your question directly. All right, so with that said, Christine, let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys came and took time for this. This SAT is very important as a part of your whole application process. And thank you, Arunan from Danville, California. A very important part of your application process. It's one part of the puzzle, but it's something that can make you shine. And just to reiterate, what you may know already is that the SAT is something that is standard across the nation. So it's another way to measure you, not just with your school or your district or your state, but how you're comparing to other states in the nation. So that's a very important measure because some schools are harder than others, so the grades may be different. So do your very best to work really hard at it. If some schools are making it optional, that's a chance for you to say, it's an option, but I'm giving you my score. Here it is. Look at what I did. So I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to be looking at the SAT writing and language section of the test. Not all of it, strictly the punctuation. There are about 10 or 12 punctuation rules. I will put them up on the screen and we can take a look at them. And I recommend that you make some notes, get your pen and paper if you don't have it yet, and write notes and use these notes as you're practicing the writing and language section. After we've gone through the notes, keep that notepad out, and we're going to do some practice on our own. I'll give you the chance to vote for what you think is the right answer. Okay, so let me do what I can do by switching and sharing screens here to the notes. Okay, got it. Okay. Karen, can you see my screen? Okay, thank you. Okay, so are we there? I don't. Okay, so there are 4 passages on the writing and language. We talked about this last time. And the basic approach is to look at how the answers are changing, read with a purpose, always read to the end of the sentence, not just the underlined portion. Read from the beginning to the end of a sentence and use a process of elimination by looking for wrong answers and marking them off. Okay, we did that last time, so that's just a review. Read your final answer one last time into the complete sentence to make sure it's right. Okay, the 4 primary rules are to make sure that the sentence is complete, no run-ons, consistent with the other parts of the sentence and the other sentences around it, clear, just like when you write an essay, and concise. What does concise mean? It means as short, precise, and concise as possible, nothing extra. Okay, so the first section, this is punctuation. We're going to look at complete sentences complete sentences, how to punctuate them. And then we're going to look at for consistency, clarity, and being short. And then the most important part, the punctuation section of the test. And just remember, we'll go back up here, remember that there can only be one right answer. They can't be gray at all. So if there's two answers that can be used both interchangeably, they will not be correct answers. Okay, so first of all, the complete sentence is a stop punctuation to complete sentences only. Use either a period or a semicolon or a comma with fanboys. So if we have two complete sentences, our examples are, I went to the market, I bought eggs. Okay, I went to the market, I bought eggs. Second one, semicolon. Use strictly like a period, no different at all. I went to the market, semicolon, I bought eggs. They're interchangeable. Semicolon on the SAT cannot be used in any other way at all. So if they're both options on the test, if you look in the answer choices and you have a period and a semicolon with nothing else different, they have to be wrong. You can just mark them off. Okay? And the third one is a comma with a fanboy. I went to the market, comma, and I bought eggs. Okay? Here are the fanboys. It just stands for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay? Comma, fanboy, and these are the three. They're interchangeable. Something to take note of, and I will bring it up again, is this last one. I went to the store, the market, and I bought eggs. If I were to take out this second I and say I went to the market and bought eggs, that second part is no longer complete. And then that means you would take out this comma right here. So with a comma, I went to the market and I bought eggs. Without a comma, I went to the market and bought eggs. Okay? Straightforward. Make sure you have those down. Use them when you're comparing your answers. Okay. Next. Okay. Oopsie. Semicolons and periods are completely interchangeable. We said that already. Go punctuation. Here we go. Go punctuation means an incomplete idea with a complete sentence connected by only a comma. When I went to the market, I bought eggs. Can when I went to the market stand by itself? No. Needs the complete sentence after it. Okay? Pretty straightforward. You could also say, I bought eggs, comma, when I went to the market. Okay. Second part of the English section is the tense needs to be consistent. Look around in the sentences and around sentences to check whether the tenses should be in the present, past, or future. We'll do that when we get some examples at the second half of this class. Okay, and then the numbers have to be consistent. Watch in the answer choices for both singular and plural answers, and then double check the passage to be sure you pick the right one. Examples, if he is, they are. SAT is a little sneaky about this. They give you a really long subject and you need to find the simple subject. So we'll practice one on that in just a few minutes. And then lastly, you need to be clear. Let's look at the example. We have pronouns need to be clear. It, they, this, these, those, them, he or she. If there are 3 pronouns and 1 specific noun in the answer choices, the question is testing what is the clearest, and the noun will most likely be the correct answer. So for example, which answer is best? It is huge. It is very large. The book is very big. Or it is humongous. The correct answer should be C, the book, because otherwise, even though this is a longer answer, it is the most clear. We want to know exactly what we're talking about. So look for that as an option. Okay? And then This one we will actually save for Monday because it's more related to sentence positioning. So we'll go save that one. And then concise, keep it short and simple. When the answers are very similar, but some are more wordy without adding anything very important, start by checking the shortest answer or delete the underlined portion. If the short answer is not missing anything new and important to the meaning of the sentence, pick that answer. Okay, and we'll put this into practice soon. This is another section that we will take a look at on Monday when we're looking at detailed questions. So we'll skip that. Possessive pronouns and pronouns with contractions. If there are no questions, I'll continue here. If you have a question, please send it in the chat now. Otherwise, I'll continue. Possessive pronouns versus pronouns with contractions. It's versus it is. It's their versus they are. Okay. So just to be sure you know them, it apostrophe S always means it is. Example, it's time to eat. If you can replace the it's with it is, then there's your apostrophe. It is. It's as a possessive, possessing something, never, ever, ever has an apostrophe, not in between the T and the S, and not after the S. That doesn't exist. It's always a singular possessive belonging to it. For example, its tail is black. If you put an apostrophe between the T and the S, it would say it is tail is black. The tail belonging to it is black. Okay. The next one, their always means they are. So replace it when you're checking them. They're almost at the concert. They are almost at the concert. And then their possessive always is the plural, more than one thing, possessive, belonging to them. Examples, their trucks are gray. The truck belonging to them, the trucks belonging to them, excuse me, are gray. Okay, and these we're saving for next time. And here's our comma rules. There are 4 reasons for commas on the test. If it's not one of the 4 reasons, don't put a comma. Okay, 4 reasons for commas. Number 1 is, we already mentioned it on the first page, to connect 2 complete sentences. Let me move that over here. Okay, there we go. To connect 2 complete sentences, comma with fanboys. Fanboys are listed above. Example again, I went to the market, comma, but I forgot to buy eggs. I went to the market, complete sentence. I forgot to buy, bought eggs. I forgot to buy, there we go, eggs. Number 2, the second reason for commas, besides comma with fanboys, is to connect an incomplete idea with a complete sentence. You're pretty familiar with that. While I was at the store, while I bought eggs. Or reverse, I bought eggs, complete sentence first, while I was at the store. Be sure you put that comma. Okay. Okay. Third, comma between a list of 2 or more things. This is the one most of us know of. I did not give an example of 3 items. I bought eggs, comma, bacon, comma, and waffles at the store. Put commas between them all. The trickier one is when you have a list of 2 items, 2 of them. You only want to put a comma between them if you would replace an and where you put that comma. So here's an example. I visited an isolated Hawaiian island. There's no comma here because I would not say I visited an isolated and Hawaiian island. So I don't need to put a comma there. If I were to say I have long brown hair, I have long and brown hair. That works, so I put a comma. That's the third reason. So we have and then the fourth reason here is a pair of commas around unnecessary information. Okay, whoopsie, here we go again. If the information between the pair of commas is not necessary to the meaning or structure of the sentence, then put commas around it. A pair of commas For example, we have our example first right here. I like colorful birds, especially parrots, who sing. You can take this piece out. I like colorful birds who sing, and it's still just fine. It's not as interesting, but it's still just fine. So if that's the case, you put a pair of commas around it, which we did here. You can also put a pair of dashes. Here's a little dash mark here, or a pair of parentheses. They're all interchangeable on the test. Okay, those are the 4 reasons for commas. If there are no questions, then I will continue, and then we'll practice a little bit. The last part of grammar for this test, or punctuation grammar, is a colon or a single dash. And I've given you an illustration of a colon and a single dash. A colon or single dashes are completely interchangeable, just like a period and a semicolon. And let me see if I can move this over a little bit. There we go. Okay. They're completely interchangeable on the test. So, and they are also more flexible. So the rule is, if I see a colon in the answer choices or a single dash, I'm going to check before the colon. It has to be a complete sentence. If it's not a complete sentence, out. It's done. Okay. If it is complete, then continue to check after the colon for the next step. After the colon or the single dash can be either complete or incomplete. As I said, it's really flexible, and it can be either a list, an explanation, or a definition. So a list would be incomplete, but an explanation might be a complete sentence. So if you nail these rules down, you're halfway through with the English section, and you can master them. You might get tricked here and there, but not too much. So it's a good place to start when you're preparing. Okay, and after this list or explanation or definition, the sentence has to end there. It can't go on to some other part of another something. The list is the end, period. Okay, example, when I started my new business, I stocked up office supplies I might need: laptop, printer, copier, paper, pens, and staplers. Okay, so there's your colon. Okay, and that's the end of that. So Karen, are there any questions? Otherwise, I will go to some practice for a few minutes.
Are there any questions? A reminder, you can raise your hand, or you can ask me a question directly, or you can also send your chat to everyone so Christine can see it as well.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so this is practice 2 test from the College Board, which you may, if you have a copy of the book, you may have it. If you look online, you may be able to find it. So practice 2 test, it was given about 3.5 years ago. And writing section is always section 2. So we're going to go through as many as we can with our time here and talk about the rules. I'm going to skip the ones that we're going to talk about on Monday, where we talk about sentence placement and word choice, expressions of ideas. Today's strictly punctuation. So these are word choice here. We're going to zoom on down to number 5. And rule number 1.
Christine, I believe the screen froze.
Oh, it did again. Okay.
Yeah.
So you saw the beginning, but then it. So
I still see the
top again.
The 1, 2, 3 list. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's see here. So that happened. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? There we go. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Yay! And is it moving?
It's moving. Yeah.
Yay! Okay. So we are on we're going to look at number 5 first. These are questions that we'll look at next time, as I said, number 4. So we remember that we want to read from the beginning of the sentence to the end of the sentence. Otherwise, you might get trapped. So this is question 5. But it starts up here. The share of library materials that is in non-print format is increasingly steady. In 2010, at least 18.5 million ebooks were available for them to circulate. Okay, doesn't sound bad. Nothing particularly like, right? So let's look at the answer choices. Okay, for them to, available for them to circulate, to be circulated by them, for their circulating, or for circulation. So in your
Christine,
chat, yes.
we have a question.
Good.
From Brianna.
Okay.
She is asking if this will be, if there is any way we can get a copy of the Word document slides.
The one that I had before?
Yeah.
I think so, Karen. Is that something you can pass on to them?
Yeah, if you can go ahead and email that to me, and
I sure
I can.
will.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, awesome. Good. Wonderful. Okay, so let's see. So we're going back to this. The choices are for them to circulate, to be circulated by them, for their circulating, or for circulation. Please, in your chat box, write down A, B, C, or D, or I don't know at all, for which answer you would pick. Okay. Everybody gets to, and Karen, if you could convey those answers, not by my name, just how many, if it's consistent or not. So we'll give you about 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
What do you all think the answer is?
Or you can say IDK, I don't know. Twenty more seconds. Got to be active on this test. It cannot be passive.
We have A.
Okay. For them to circulate.
We have an I don't know.
Okay. Let me give you a clue. Which is the most concise and clear? Because remember that they test for concise and clear on this test.
We have 2 Ds.
D's win it. For circulation. There it is. But that's after I get good. That's awesome. Very good. For circulation is clear, concise, 2 words, preposition, noun. The other thing to clarify for that A answer is, if it doesn't seem bad, don't think you stick with A. That's just, A is just one of the 4 answers. It's not more or less likely to be right. So if there's one that's more concise, that's the one you go with. Okay? So if that does not make sense, please send a chat or raise your hand. Okay, I think we have time for 1 or 2 more here. Number 8, we're gonna go to, is it scrolling? Okay, so number 8, let's look at those answer choices. No changes but, and, for, or delete. Okay, and let's read the whole thing from the beginning to the end, not just around the word that's underlined, and notice punctuation. While these classes are particularly helpful to young students developing basic research skills, but adult patrons can also benefit from librarian assistance in that they can acquire relevant computer skills. Okay. Before the comma cannot be moved. That's what we should notice. Notice, before the comma, is it complete or incomplete? I won't wait for answers, but try and decide for yourself there. While these classes are particularly helpful to young students developing basic research skills, waiting for the rest of the sentence, so that's incomplete. If we took out the while, it would be complete. These classes are particularly helpful. So this is incomplete, so after needs to be complete, incomplete with complete. But adult patrons can also benefit from librarian assistance in that they can acquire job-relevant computer skills. So some people may think that you can start a sentence with but that's not correct. That is, you may not start a sentence with but. That makes it an incomplete idea. So now we have 2 incomplete ideas connected by just a comma, which makes that a run-on. Comma splice, maybe some other terms that we've learned. So we can't use that one. Cannot use but, so that's out.
We have
Remember
two
our
people
other,
who, sorry, Christine, we have two
Yeah.
people who are guessing D.
D.
Mhm.
Okay, since that would make it shorter, that's a good place to start, because if it makes it more concise, and if it also makes it not two complete sentences or incomplete and incomplete, excuse me, then that's a better choice. So let's see what happens when we pick delete. You guys are correct. Okay, while these classes are particularly helpful to young students developing basic research skills, adult patrons can also benefit from librarian assistance in that they acquire job-relevant computer skills. So when we take out a but, or an and, or a for, all fanboys, you get a complete sentence, perfectly done deleting. Very good. Very, very good. Do we have time for one more? Yeah, we start a couple minutes late. Okay, number 10. And there's not a, yeah, we got to start up here, don't we? Okay, so number 10, the answer choices first we'll look at, that's what I recommend, law troubles, legal issues, concerns related to law courts, matters for the law courts. Okay, so the sentence begins, an overwhelming, right here, an overwhelming number of public libraries also report that they provide help with electronic government resources related to income tax, law troubles, and retirement programs. Notice where that phrase is in the sentence. That looks like a list, doesn't it? Looks like a list. Okay. Are the answer choices pretty similar? So let's make a vote. This will be our final bit for today. Oh, I see chats coming in.
Have 2 Bs, 3 Bs, 4 Bs, 5 Bs.
Okay. Awesome. Great work. Concise, matches the rest of the troubles, is really casual. Awesome. Piece of cake. Next time you see something like that, you're not going to say, what the heck are they asking me to do? You got it. Very good. Unfortunately, our time is up. I'll discuss with Karen and the others about the possibility of continuing some of these questions for next time, as well as the rest of the English grammar. Are there any last questions? If we do not have any, then we will call it a day for today. I'll stop sharing. Again, this was practice 2 from the College Board.
Christine, I have a question.
Yes.
How can you differentiate between a comma, a dash, and a parentheses? Like, how do you know which one to use?
You will look, good question. You will look for a pair of them, and then you will say, is this unnecessary? You can't have a comma and a parenthesis, or a comma and a dash. It has to be a pair of each, okay, of any of those 3. So if you have a pair of any of those 3, then you will say, is this unnecessary information that I can take out of the sentence and the sentence remains intact, just not as interesting? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you're not going to have a comma with a dash or a comma with a parentheses. A pair of any of those 3, and then check if it's unnecessary. Any other questions?
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
Do we have any last minute questions?
And we will definitely get a copy of that sheet for you. I'm more than happy to do so. And on Monday, continuing with grammar, but primarily looking at some of the detail questions, making it a little easier for you. You're very welcome, you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Christine.
Take care.
Thank you, Christine.
Very welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen to you all. Okay. All right, so just some quick ending notes for you all. Our next webinar will be the SAT Writing and Language about words and questions, and that will be held on Monday, April 6th at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We would very much appreciate it if you downloaded our Plexuss app if you haven't yet. If you download it, you'll be able to receive instant notifications from my counselor and from Newsfeed and all of that. We will also very much appreciate it if you rate it and review our app through the App Store or Google Play. And chat with my counselor if you have any questions regarding this webinar or about your specific journey to higher education. And if you can connect with Elite Home Tutoring on Plexuss, you can access their profile by clicking on the banner and clicking on their logo that is on the left-hand side of the banner. You can go ahead and access it there, and you can go ahead and connect with them there if you would like to ask them any follow-up questions that you weren't able to ask in this webinar. And with that said, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you all here on Monday. Bye, everybody.